Yeah. Alright, so I'm about halfway through this book, man, and I done got hit with so many revelations. I'm like, I gotta share this. I have to share this with y'all. So, peep game, man. We just gonna go straight in, dog, cause I want to get back to finish reading this book. But I'm guessing what I'm gonna need to do is go through this shit and do some videos as I'm reading this shit, cause it does these some thick ass books, man, and so much shit. Like I do things holistically. You know what I'm saying? I read a book and the shit'll take me so many other paths. But that's what it's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Any of these books. That's what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to learn take everything that all the information that you get in a gathering or whatever, and collectively put it together. You know what I'm saying? I can't just read one thing and not tie it into several other things. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I don't know. That's just how it goes. So, anyways, man, the hard facts of Grimm's fairy tales. So why the fuck are we going through fairy tales? You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta admit, when I got this book and the other books, I did a little video about it, and it was more or less like reading up on. I guess what took me there was more along the lines of just knowing what the white man was on. You know what I mean? Knowing what them cultures and whatever was on back then. Grimm was the whole German type thing. So in fairy tales, period. What they were on. So it was really kind of cool, and it was on some, like, again, just on some know thy enemy shit. And the more I'm reading this book, like, I started with a different book, and I ain't gonna get into that book a whole lot. I'm just gonna say this: that book really it ties in a lot of shit too, as far as Greek life and how they lived and whatever else. And I'm assuming it's after the Etruscans, because those were like the early Greeks, and then the ones that came over and thrashed everything and then assimilated Greek life and whatever else. So point is, a whole lot of homosexuality and a whole lot of how the wife was little more than a slave. That's why she's a housewife. It's why it's still a housewife. But it was little more than a slave. Still property of the man. And most of the women didn't even have names. You know what I'm saying? And this is in Greece. So, anyways, I'm just saying, niggas are so in love with that Greek shit. But that was Greece. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot of homo, whole lot of homo, whole lot of homo. So I'm even gonna say this. I understand why the spirit, one way or another, led me away from that shit when I was going through college and whatnot. Cause I very easily could have been in a fraternity, could have been Greek. But I digress. So I'm reading this book about the hard facts of Grimm's fairy tales, and let's just get to it, man. Fairy tales, I do have children, so I watch a lot of kid movies. I watch them with them. I've watched them at least once or twice. You at least gotta screen them to make sure it's an okay kid movie. Some movies the kids like to watch all the time, over and over and over on repeat. So you might catch glimpses, but the point is, most parents end up watching these movies too. They can tell you about these movies and whatever too, especially if you take them to the actual theater and whatnot to see the movies. So we should not be, as adults, I don't agree with watching these movies with the same mind and intention as a child. Maybe the first time around, but after I've seen the movie a couple times, no, man, I got to do something else. You know what I mean? I can't just, and by do something else, I have to analyze this shit. I have to, um, I gotta see who's the target audience. You know what I'm saying? I'm in it. That's just me. So let's get to it, right? Fairy tales. What made me jump on here and start talking to y'all is this fact right here, and I'm gonna read it from the book because I had to highlight it. It was so fucking powerful. I'm gonna read it from the book. Fairy tale heroes receive gift and assistance once they actively prove their compassion and humility. Heroes, basically the men. Heroines, the females, by contrast, become the beneficiaries of helpers and rescuers after they have been abased and forced to learn humility. Now, I ain't even gonna stunt. I probably should have looked up what the fuck abased means, because the definition of abased isn't coming to me right now. But it doesn't have to, because one thing you pick up from just reading a lot anyway is the general meaning. And I'm sorry if this is like really base for some people, but some people, you really gotta know that. But you should be able to pick up the general meaning of a word by how it's being used in a sentence, and the sentences before it, the sentences after it. So it kind of gives you an understanding. So when I see that the females, the heroines, females, they receive gifts and help. Of course, I've read the book. So, point is this. After they've been humiliated, abased, humbled, brought low, you know what I'm saying? Put in abased, you know what I'm saying? Stripped of their pride and humility. And what fucked me up about it, why I had to stop and, like I said, go ahead and spit this video out for y'all, man, is because of this. I have found that's huge, man. That's huge. That's a lot of what we dealing with here. Especially, like I said, the men. Not just, men. It's not just women. And men. Men. Humility and compassion. You got to be able to have that, period. And that's for men. And I'm going to get into why I'm just, point is, that's for men. And for women, they won't get it until they learn this shit. Now, this is how fairy tales are structured. Why does that matter? And why did I bring up all that shit about know thy enemy and the Germans and the white and whatever else? This is the concepts of their mind. This is what's coming out of their mind. These is their stories. And fairy tales were not childhood stories. The Grimms and the Grimm brothers, the brothers Grimm, they went back and dumbed a lot of this shit down. You know what I'm saying? To where they became kid stories and whatnot. But in the beginning, they were not kid stories. So again, man, we talking real psychology here. I'm taking you to the dark side. I'm your field guide to the dark side, baby. And let's talk some real psychology here, man. A lot of niggas, a lot of women, a lot of men and women, that's what you think your life is. Especially these young cats grew up on movies and TV, fairy tales and folklore. That's what it is. All these movies, and I mean, again, we could talk about kids' movies, and I'm going to talk a lot about kids' movies, but it's any movie that you see, ultimately it's a fairy tale. It's not real. It's not real. And the same plights and plots and this and that is the same fucking thing that happens in these fairy tales. That's why they're so fucking effective as far as mind control and whatever else, because it's a lot of what the fuck you're going through. For real, for real. Whether you know it or not, you think you're living a fairy tale. And if you're really not, you really are living a fairy tale. Some of us need to get into writing our own fairy tales. You need to start writing your own fairy tale. You need to understand you are the hero of your own fairy tale. Period. And every single one of these fairy tales, man, is so fucked up, but it's true. But in all the fairy tales, what they don't talk about is the fucked up shit that the kids have to go through. Period. In damn near every one of them, you'll be hard-pressed to find a fairy tale, any kids' movie where both the parents are there and ain't nobody got a problem with either one of them. See, even if they don't have a problem with them, one of them's dead, they either have a mother or there's no father. I was just watching the kids' movie Monster House on Netflix with my kids. I try to make them switch it up. They watch a lot of the same shit, but I just put Monster House on for the cause. And one of the things that happened in that movie, which happens in a lot of movies, is the parents, they basically got a babysitter and they went away for the night. So in this one night, or over this course of this fucking weekend, while the parents are gone, the parents are gone. They're not even there. So the kid is here by himself. See what I mean? And it's not like he himself has been traumatized, but that haunted house, that monster house, has been traumatizing kids all over the neighborhood. So he still kind of grew up in this neighborhood with this fucked up house on Halloween right across the goddamn street. That's got him so fucking paranoid where he's got a fucking telescope and this and that, and he's watching the house damn near night and day, like he's having a fucked up childhood, you know. And the nigga don't want to go to Halloween. So you see what I'm saying? Point is, it's like these kids go through a lot of shit, and you can take it to any movie. Moana, she kept getting pulled away from the ocean. So it's like her and her father, you see her and her father were at ends. In a lot of the movies with the females, it's a lot of daddy issues. Straight the fuck up. The fathers is trying to hold them back. Trolls, the father was holding her, trying to keep her back. Both movies, Trolls 1 and World Tour. Number 2. The father didn't want her to go to Bergentown in 1. Didn't want her to meet up with everybody else. Wanted, you know what I'm saying, try to force her to listen to him till she had to run away as the queen, but ran away as the queen. Ran away. Which takes me to the point I'm really trying to get at with that. Let me read it again. You know what I'm saying? Let me read it again, dude. For real. Fairy tale heroes. The men in fairy tales only receive gifts and assistance once they have actively proved their compassion and humility. And the reason why I say you can take it to any movie, man, there are so many different movies that pop up in my mind, so many different references, and it kind of sucks that I can't really give you one. Because you can take it to any movie, and I've been kind of killing out these kids' movies. I can't really take it to like a relevant movie, you feel me? That, or I say movie, adult movie, you know what I'm saying, that really springs to mind right now. So why even bother, right? Let me take it to the kids' movies. The point is this: in every single one of them movies, like I said, the men, Aladdin, that nigga did not deserve nothing. Nothing, but he pretty much was a street rat all his life. He didn't try to get a job and try to do shit the right way and try to whatever, you know what I mean? No, this nigga chose to steal his whole life. You can feel bad for him if you want to, but the nigga chose a diamond in the rough. He was rough as fuck, you know what I'm saying? And he was good at it. A good goddamn thief. In the old school movies, and I mean like the 80s, 90s, whenever the fuck the cartoon Aladdin came out, there was like 3 of them. And the second one was the Prince of Thieves. Now, if him and old girl they end up married and this and that, whatever, this nigga was a prince of thieves. See what I'm saying? So, anyways, point is, man, Aladdin really was a street rat. He really was whatever. He showed compassion and humility when he snatched the baby or the little girl out of the street that was getting ready to get ran over. He's when he showed compassion and humility by helping the princess do some things, whatever, get away. He showed his cunningness and whatever else. So that wasn't necessarily compassion and humility. That was more or less cunning. But point was, Aladdin showed compassion and humility when he saved the little girl. And then old dude said, you ain't nothing but a street rat. Only your fleas will mourn you. You see what I'm saying? That's Aladdin, right? First male whatever I can fucking come to or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Learn that shit. The movie Onward with the little blue elves and whatever else is another male movie. First thing I could think of, male movie. But as far as the male, same shit. Compassion and humility. It dude kind of went through a path. Well, I ain't gonna get into that, but they did turn him into like the female. But there was 2 guys. But the point is, the one that was actually had the magic, he got a little whatever with his magic, but he was humiliated in front of the kids. He was trying to invite them to a party, and he was humiliated. You see what I'm saying? So right. Point being, that's what they do for the men, and it was early on in the movie when he got humiliated. Now, when you go to the female counterparts, again, the ladies in fairy tales, by contrast, become the beneficiaries of gifts, helpers, and rescuers only after they have been abased and forced to learn humility. You see what I'm saying? Forced. Dude put himself in that humiliating position in the movie Onward because he was trying to invite them to his birthday party and he wrote on his hand and then he was, did that, whatever. You know what I mean? His brother pulled up and he was embarrassed by his brother in the car. You feel me? That's the movie Onward. In, shit. What the fuck was the movie I said before that? The male movie. Fuck it. See what I'm saying? High shit. It be like that. Let me fire up this black. It'll come to me. But yeah, that's just a little Onward shit. But Aladdin, my fault. Talked all that shit about Aladdin and forget. But again, man, compassion and humility. But that's when dude learned his humility. That's when Aladdin learned his humility. Now the women are forced to learn that shit. Forced. So if you want to look at it like, oh girl, because they did play Jasmine like she is a fairy tale princess, Jasmine. So she's why she had her own little role in Aladdin too. You see what I'm saying? She had to go through her same shit. Again, abased in the cartoon Aladdin, Jafar treated her like a straight up prostitute. Had that bitch on a chain with the chain around her neck and whatever else and was like, feed me grapes, bitch. Abased, brought low. She was treated like a motherfucking slave, dog, and forced to learn humility. Pretty much the same goddamn thing in the new Aladdin. But it was pretty much in this one she was forced to learn humility. Know your place. Yes, but you can't this, that, whatever. She kept trying to be sultan. They kept telling her no. No, 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 no. No, nah. To where she had a whole new song and all this shit about how she won't be kept, all that, whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? I can't even remember the song, but you get the point. She had a whole song in the new Aladdin, Jasmine did. So, now, I'm talking about these kid movies, but you have to understand, if you stuck with me this far, thank you. Peep game. This is when shit gets real. There are a lot of grown-ass boys and girls out here, man. The point of this book, the meat and potatoes of this book, the beginning of this book, and I'm only halfway through it, but it starts talking about the mind. The mind. Consciousness, the mind. Who the fuck? It's like, where did these fairy tales come from for the Grimms to put their own spin on it? So it does go down that path, but what got me in it is the mind. When it talks about the mind, the people who keep telling these fairy tales. Even again, the Aladdin from 20 years ago was retold in the Aladdin that's today. They could have said the exact same story, just did it as human people. They could have used the exact same script, probably. Just did it with humans and whatever you want to call it. But they switched up so much shit, it was retold through another mind. Why? What was taken out? This is what I mean by not watching these movies with the mind of a child, grown-ass boys and girls, but being mature adults about this. What was different from the Aladdin 20 years ago to the ones they showing kids today? What was different from the Lion King 20 years ago to the Lion King they showing niggas today? You see what I'm saying? And again, even in the Lion King, he's a male hero in the fairy tale, right? Compassion and humility. He showed compassion for Timon and Pumbaa, humility. Had to eat the bugs. There you go. Had to eat bugs. You see what I'm saying? Boom. And if you want to go take it to the women in that, it's the same fucking shit. Because look at the queen. She was forced to learn humility. Scar forced her to be his wife or up under him or whatever. Forced all the women to hunt for him. All that. Forced to learn humility. That's the theme they keep throwing up there. So, again, man, we got a lot of grown-ass boys and girls. And like I said a few moments ago, you know, serious business now. We on the serious tip. That's why I ain't got the mask on. Serious tip, man. because of a lot of these movies, and a lot of us did grow up on movies like Aladdin and Peter Pan and The Sword and Stone, you know what I mean? I watched all them little Disney movies back in the day, you know. A lot of us did grow up on that, man, especially this younger crowd. Point being, this is your fucking fairy tale. Like I said before, this is your fairy tale. This shit was created from a mind of kings and queens easily represent your parents and whatever else. And see, I got a book called Mind Control 101, and I have talked about it. Might need to talk about it some more, man. This might need to be a whole nother fucking video. But Mind Control 101, the first people that really fuck with your mind are your parents. They tell you who you are. They give you a name. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much set the whole tone of your life. Even when it comes to like astrology, you get your moon sign from your mother and how she's going to raise you. Yes, the moon placement in the sky, this and the third, but it's also your mom, the mother that you chose to become as a soul, that you chose to be born as a spirit under. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you chose this life that you into right now. And it's a fucking fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. Straight up. So for us men, we got to learn compassion and humility. You got to humble yourself. Even if you a thief like Aladdin, you can still be raised to the highest position, to a king, to a sultan. You can still get that on your own. That's what they were showing you. What it talks about in this book. For the men in a lot of these fairy tales, they don't really do shit. They take, even in the other movie I talked about, Onward, right? He didn't really do anything. He had a staff that his father gave him, but still it was supernatural powers, this, that, and the third. He himself didn't do anything. Now his brother played the game and knew the all the information and the data and whatever else. But the kid that actually had the power that the story was about, the main guy, he didn't do shit until the very end. But he was naive, and he was basically a fool. Didn't want to listen to his brother at all. Didn't take advice. His brother just kept helping him. Helpers and this and that, whatever. Again, didn't learn shit until he learned compassion and humility. Then once he learned that, right at the end of the movie, basically, once he learned compassion and humility, start, really understanding his brother's been right there helping him and this and that, whatever, his whole goddamn life, compassion and humility. He humbled himself in that moment up on the ledge. Once he did that shit, you feel me? Then he was whipping the magic like it wasn't nothing. Of course, he was in action. So, point is, man, this is your movie. And a lot of what you went through as a kid is affecting what you're doing right now and how you running through life and living life and shit. It affects that shit. It really does. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to be on it. You got to be on it. And as men, that's something, 2 words, big ass words that you really got to learn: compassion and humility. You're not going to know it all. One of the hardest things for men to say, just with the human brain period, is, I don't know, or I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? That's for women as well. And I mean, it's kind of fucked up, but serious business, man. Women, you might have to put yourself in a position to where somebody forces you to humble yourself. Because it's powerful. But that's what they showing you in these fairy tales. And real talk, that's what happens in real life, women. Once you, I don't want to take it to as far as once you have been abased, once you've been brought low, but that's why I just say humble yourself. It don't mean you got to lose your job, but for some women, you care more about your job than you do about your man. You care more about being a solid worker and making money than about being a wife or being a lover. You know what I'm saying? You get mad at your man for whatever other women, and she just may be better at having sex than you are. That's all it is. Ain't got nothing to do with love, but she's better at sexing than you are. It could be something like that. So I'm just saying, man. There's humility. It may be your man cheating on you, and him seeing how much you flipped out that he said, "Oh, I ain't never gonna cheat on you again," or whatever. Who knows? But I ain't trying to go there. But I'm going there because, man, that's what it is. And that's just on, I guess, a lower note. On a higher note, starting a company, this and that, compassion and humility. You can have the greatest idea, but it's going to take a team to get a company off the ground. Compassion, humility, you're going to have to humble yourself. Men, women, whatever. Like, that's the main two themes. Again, I'm not trying to go into too much detail, but these fairy tale shit, all these movies that you watch, any movie, it's compassion and humility that these niggas learn before they win the game. Alright? So, I ain't gonna, I got excited, man. That's a hell of a book. And, if you want to know more, holler at me. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment and whatnot, and we can talk about it and go into a little more detail. But I'm only halfway through the book. We talking about the heroes. I'm going to get on to the villain part aspect of it and whatnot. Because, again, a lot of us are heroes. You are the hero of your own fucking story, whether you know it or not. Point blank, period. And like I said, for men, we got to show compassion and humility. You got to be able to humble yourself. Just like I used to ladies talk about all this shooting and whatever else. Some niggas can't take a punch in the mouth, but you're going to take a lot of blows, literally and figuratively in life. You will take a lot of blows. Try and try again. You know what I'm saying? One of the things like a Chinese proverb, you know what I'm saying? Fall 7 times, but get back up 8. You see what I mean? So, it's going to happen. Life is going to, the pendulum's going to swing. Shit's going to happen. You got to be the hero. And one of the biggest things it points out, again, that naive shit. Whether it's the man or the woman, it's naive. But being naive, thinking that can't nothing wrong happen, like Tangled, in the movie Tangled, that was about Rapunzel and whatever, the hair and whatever else, right? I know we talking kid movies, but follow me here, right? For the women, okay? That naive shit. She was fearless. She was naive as fuck. And they kept trying to tell her the real world it ain't no joke. The dude tried to tell her. The witch tried to tell her. But she was naive as fuck. She was determined and she was fearless. You see what I'm saying? Naive. Determined and fearless, but naive nonetheless. So I'm saying it because it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the whole magic. You talking to the wizard here, you feel me? That's part of the motherfucking magic, dog. Being fearless, beyond a shadow of a doubt, doing you and knowing that your spells, your magic, your shit's gonna work. That's huge. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's dream work, knowing that when you go to sleep, you're going to be able to astral travel. Knowing that when you go to sleep, your gods or your goddesses are going to contact you. You'll be able to talk to spirits and angels and dragons and whatever the fuck you into. You see me, I fuck with shit. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever you into, got my peoples right here on the altar behind me. Whatever you into, you got to be fearless about it to the point where it may look like it's naive. And that's huge. Fucking huge. It's huge. If I could share that with you with nothing else, man, be fearless and be naive. Be naive. Fuck it. Let the world stop you. Get out there. And then when you face your obstacles, overcome your ops. You feel me? When you come across opposition, overcome the opposition. Face your ops, head up. Period. It's just that simple, man. I really had to throw that out there, dog, because it's huge for men and women. And a lot of women, that's really what it is. That's why I send these fucking fairy tales. I'm not gonna get into the whole oppression of women, this, that, and the third. I just did a video about how the shit's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be easy. Life and whatever it is you're trying to manifest and do in life is supposed to be easy. It should not be this goddamn hard. So again, you shouldn't have to be forced to be humiliated. You know what I'm saying? Should nobody have to force you. You really shouldn't be naive. You should be able to use your own motherfucking head. Alright? But for those of us that don't and or whatever, if you want to get a kickstart in this game, you know what I'm saying? If you really want to, tarot card, whatever, go all in. Be naive about it. Fuck it. By the end of the week, I'll be picking shit up with my astral hand, moving shit just with my mind. Telekinesis or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. Go all in. Whatever. I'm going to start a company in 6 months. I'll be living whoops, whoops, whoop. And they'll be like, nigga, you think it's that easy? This nigga naive as fuck. Oh, well, watch her do it. Watch you do it. You know what I'm saying? That's naive. I did a video. Say yes to everything. You're going to have to be naive. Say no to everything. Oh, well, You know what I mean? But that kind of plays into the whole thing too. You feel me? To go all day and say yes to everything, that's kind of being naive. Like you just don't think something bad's gonna happen. So you just gonna say yes to everything. You're not anticipating or whatever. Yeah. Hmm. That's naive. Naive is not a word that we use often, I want to say, in the black community. I don't hear it very much around a lot of the niggas that I be around. You know what I'm saying? So it's a word you might want to get used to. All right, I'm going to cut out of here. Like I said, man, if I said something that you resonate with, a topic part of this, because I go down a lot of paths, like, share, subscribe, comment on the shit. Let me know, you know what I'm saying? I'll try to keep it more streamlined on one angle versus another. I'm doing a lot of talking to myself right here, you feel me? So, whatever comes to mind tends to come out. You know, I say it and I say it again. I got a lot of Aries energy. I'm not an Aries, but I got a lot of Aries energy all throughout my chart and whatever else. So, I tend to talk real fast, say a lot of shit, and I'm brutal and straight to the point with it. You know what I mean? So, if you want more detail, you might have to slow me down. But all right, man. OZ the Wizard. Like, share, subscribe. The Hard Facts of Grimm's Fairy Tales. Again, quick breakdown, real quick. In this book, it goes over the structure and the fundamentals of fairy tales. What constitutes a fairy tale? What makes a fairy tale a fairy tale? Just by me examining that and going over the basics in the beginning, now we're getting into the meat and potatoes. Like I said, I'm about halfway through. This much I've read, this much I got to go. So, just now that we've gotten through all the preliminaries and this and that and whatever else, you feel me? You can take that to damn near any movie and understand that what they're really serving you is a fucking fairy tale. So if you identify with any hero, especially again like Marvel and superheroes and whatever else, still fucking fairy tales. They go through a lot of traumatic shit to become a hero, and they go through a lot of this and that. You know what I'm saying? You are the hero of your own story. So understand, especially if you're starting from a low spot, even the motherfucking princes that start off in a high area, whatever else, for the men, you have to show compassion and humility. So you're going to have to be knocked off your high horse. You're going to have to understand that you are not the shit. You are not as pretty as you think you are, whatever the fuck it is. Take your shit and run with it. Women, same goddamn thing. Some of y'all are too prideful, too much pride and too boastful and think everything should just be handed to you. You know what I'm saying? Even men and whatever else. I ain't trying to sound like nobody else or go down some other paths, but it is so fucking pivotal, so crucial that y'all fucking hear this and really get that. You know what I'm saying? Understand it, like for real, for real. Should nobody have to force you or embarrass you for you to get it, for you to really understand and start living in the real world and dealing with real facts, not just your fantasy land or the way you think you should have it, or everything should be your way, your way, your way. Sometimes you got to come up out of the past and you have to really live in the now, not come up out of the future and live in the now. This is how things are now. This is how shit's being played now. This is the game that you're involved in now. Not how it should be. Not, oh, it ain't fair and it's not whatever. I'm just saying, just throwing shit out there. But for a lot of women, real talk, man, real talk. These fairy tales, these kid movies, I mean, in every other movie, you pretty much see, you going to suffer a little bit. You going to suffer a little bit if you're really trying to do great things. But like I said, it's not necessarily being raped or beat up or cheated on. None of that. It could just be, you know, making boss moves. It's going to be stressful. You know what I'm saying? Finding the right partners, people to partner with, or trying to find grants and loans for your shit. I'm just saying it's going to be stressful. Trying to find your own lane. I know people do lip gloss and nails and eyelashes. It's going to be a little stressful. But you got to go through your trials and tribulations. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to embarrass yourself a little bit. You might have to wear your own product or get out there on the beat. You know what I'm saying? And go from place to place. Humiliate yourself. Humble yourself. Get on the grind. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. Whether it's a job, get on the grind. Humble yourself a little bit. Do it. You feel me? OZ the Wizard. Love y'all, man. Holla at your boy.